Blinded by my desperation after a painful breakup, I foolishly rented the haunted Willow Creek house. Its enticingly low price concealed the terrifying reality that awaited me. Within moments of stepping foot inside, the house revealed its malevolent nature. As night descended, eerie sounds of scratching, scraping, and tapping came from the walls, which denied me even a moment of sleep. Desperate to unravel the source of my mounting unease, I ventured forth into an investigation, hoping for answers. Days turned into a dreadful week, but my efforts remained fruitless. It wasn't until I descended into the accursed basement that the horrifying truth revealed itself. In the dim, forsaken depths, I was confronted with an unimaginable sight, a decomposing corpse. The stench overwhelmed me, causing me to stumble. Asking for help was pointless as my phone had no signal. Trapped within those unhallowed walls, I found myself in the clutches of a malevolent force, the vengeful spirit of the deceased. Its eerie face watched over me day and night. Its eerie murmurs crept into my mind, revealing things I dare not know and permanently creating fear in my heart. Enveloped in terror, the ghost's ghastly visions consumed me, revealing the gruesome details of his tragic demise. I desperately clung to the hope that it was all in my imagination. The vengeful specter showed no mercy, manipulating the house's very essence to torment me. Doors slammed shut, lights flickered and vanished, and ghostly footsteps echoed through the empty halls. The longing to escape intensified, but the doors and windows remained sealed, trapping me within its malevolent grip. Bound and helpless, the ghost's relentless presence threatened to unravel my sanity with each passing day. Days turned into agonizing weeks, and my spirit was eroded by hunger and the absence of rest. The ghost's chilling voice became my constant companion. I surrendered to the relentless grasp of the supernatural, trapped in a spiraling descent into darkness. One night, the ghost revealed his true form, a grotesque incarnation of the very corpse I had discovered. His eyes radiated an otherworldly glow, and his voice morphed into a growl, tearing through the air. "You are mine," he snarled, the words dripping with cruel possession. "You will never leave this house." With a final, malevolent glare, he vanished. In the clutches of despair, I realized my grim fate. The ghost had enslaved my mind, pulling my strings as his puppet. Helpless and trapped, I succumbed to the ghost's control, my mind and body manipulated at his whim. Relentlessly, the ghost forced me to relive his gruesome demise, forever haunted by the face of his killer, which faded upon awakening. Then, one day, I awoke to a silent house, devoid of the ghost's presence. Alone and feeble, I emerged from the basement as a shadow of my former self, lost within the confines of the haunted house for so long that I had forgotten the world beyond those walls. To my astonishment, the front door was unlocked. With trembling steps, I ventured into the sunlight, greeted by a symphony of birdsong and the gentle sun's rays. It felt as if I had been reborn. But suddenly, I awoke once more, confined to my bed. It had all been a dream, a twisted illusion. Trapped in the clutches of the relentless whisperer, escape seemed like an impossible dream. It became apparent that I would remain here indefinitely, destined to perish within these haunted walls. The realization struck me, urging me to reclaim my sanity before it slipped away entirely. With a surge of desperation, I leaped from my bed and sprinted toward the door, knowing all too well that the man's haunting presence intensified at the stroke of midnight. Urgency fueled my every step. I needed to get out of this house. Bursting through the door, I descended the stairs in a rush. My heart hammered in my chest, threatening to explode as I comprehended the specter's imminent presence lurking just beyond the front door. He always came at this hour. If I could only reach the street, there might be a glimmer of hope. Fear propelled me across the road, desperate to create distance between myself and the house. During my hasty retreat, I scanned the dark and eerily deserted surroundings. The silence of the campus at 3 a.m. seemed unnerving, considering the usual presence of people. Yet, at that moment, I dared not dwell on the strangeness of it all. Instead, I focused on the cool night air, its touch against my skin bringing a fleeting sense of relief. My gaze fixated ahead, where a haunting figure materialized. Without conscious thought, I knew it was him, my tormentor, here to claim me. His wicked sneer twisted his face as he uttered, "I told you, Before I could unleash a scream, I was abruptly transported back to my bed. My body felt paralyzed, rendering me unable to move. Hovering over me, he had a wide grin stretching across his face, exposing rows upon rows of razor-sharp teeth. My stomach churned at the memory of his visits at unholy hours. Always lurking in the corner of the room, he appeared as a frail, sickly old man, perpetually trembling. The stench coming from his presence filled me with repulsion. I yearned for him to vanish, or at the very least, spare my life. Yet both possibilities seemed impossible. Trapped within these confines alongside him, I clung to the sliver of hope that I would find a means of escape. However, the method remained a mystery. Predictably, the moon emerged from behind the shrouded clouds. The clouds shifted, allowing the moonlight to penetrate the darkness of the room, momentarily blinding me. As my eyes adjusted, I squinted, attempting to see my surroundings in the depths of the chamber. As my eyes gradually adjusted to the blinding brightness, a foreboding shadow cast its veil over me. Shallow breaths escaped my trembling form, fear seeping into every fiber of my being. My hand quivered uncontrollably as I instinctively rose to cover my quivering mouth. The looming shadow drew nearer, progressively obstructing the moonlight that streamed through the window above. Within mere inches of me, I gasped, my gaze fixated on his piercing, luminescent blue eyes boring into the depths of my soul. His lips curled into a sinister smile, sending chills down my spine. I stood frozen, my body immobilized by sheer terror, unable to utter a single scream. The pounding of my heart thundered in my ears, drowning out all sound and leaving only a disorienting ringing in my head. Never before had I experienced such overwhelming fear and anxiety. But it was all in my head, I reassured myself. It couldn't possibly be real, could it? No, of course not. It defied all logic and reason. Yet my tear-filled eyes betrayed me, distorting reality into a nightmare-like panorama. Despite my efforts to calm myself with deep breaths, the air felt trapped in my constricted lungs, intensifying my fear. Tears blurred my vision as despair deepened. The pain in my throat heightened, causing a stifled sob to escape, even though no one was there to hear. Suddenly, the room plunged into pitch darkness, engulfing me in a shroud of ominous silence. A resounding crash shattered the stillness, followed by the splintering of cracks. Glass shattered, an object toppled nearby, and then it happened. A scream pierced the air, freezing me to the core. I couldn't comprehend what had caused the old man to halt his assault, but one thing became clear. I could move again, and that was all the opportunity I needed. With a surge of adrenaline, I got up from the floor. The old man lay motionless, glass shards piercing his body, and a shattered window nearby. The cause of this violent turn of events remained a mystery, but I recognized it as my only opportunity to run. Frantically, I raced down the stairs, the sound of his furious footsteps closing in behind me. Surprisingly, instead of fear, a glimmer of hope flickered within me. He had never pursued me when I attempted to escape before. This time, however, his relentless pursuit indicated a desperate desire to reclaim me. I sprinted through the house and leaped through a window just as his hand clawed at my fleeing feet. I glanced back and saw him, trapped within the confines of the house, his eyes fixated on me through the window. I collapsed on the front lawn, my body weak and trembling. I was discovered by a passing jogger who called for an ambulance. I was taken to the hospital, where I underwent weeks of recovery. My mother was consumed by distress. My father was devastated by the realization of how close I came to dying, and my two closest friends were tormented by their feelings of helplessness. The police investigated to uncover the truth behind the attack, but their efforts yielded no results. I was too terrified to recall any details. My memory was clouded by fear. It was an event that society expects one to forget, but deep down, I knew I would never be the same again. I yearned for a day when I could awaken and resume a life of normalcy. No amount of wishing could alter that harsh reality. I continued through the nightmares and anxiety, doing my best to endure until the day I could return home and reunite with my family once more. All I yearned for was to return home to the loving embrace of my parents, my brother, and the comforting presence of my best friend and girlfriend. As the police dug deeper into their investigation of the house, they uncovered evidence of a murder. The previous owner had killed a tenant, and concealed the body in the basement. Unknown to me, the house was tainted with this hidden crime, and the ghost haunting me was the vengeful spirit of the murdered man. He had attempted to manipulate me into becoming a vessel for his revenge against the killer. However, in the end, justice prevailed. Yet a lingering question remained. How did I manage to break free from his clutches and escape? After weeks of inquiries, I discovered that a group of mischievous neighborhood kids was responsible. In their reckless antics, one of them threw a rock, which shattered my window. The resulting shards wounded the old man, providing me with a brief window of opportunity to run. Luck saved me. I would never go back to that horrible place again. The psychological scars acted as a terrifying reminder of the evil powers that lurk in the darkness, waiting to seize innocent victims. I resolved after that eerie experience to pay attention to the warning and never to travel down a path that would lead to a world where the living and the dead interacted and where fears came true. For more such videos, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and turn on notification bell to never miss any update.